Margaret Thatcher had to take voice lessons so that her voice would sound deeper when she was delivering speeches. It's like a proximity to femininity is somehow assumed to be a distance from intelligence. Where did this come from? And that just makes it like skin, okay? Need to come and say that you do not fit the prescribed box of what a doctor should be or think or look like. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica Katanga, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a rant about the latest #Medbikini scandal, problematic research in general, femininity versus intelligence, and why we need diversity in academia. So I put on my Insta stories whether you guys wanted this rant in like a chit chat get ready with me style or a sit down with a cup of tea. You guys voted to make my life difficult. So you're going to be seeing how I achieve this cruelty-free look. So keep watching. Do my foundation. Now I'll start with my eyebrows. So I'm just going to start by summarizing the paper's aims and methods just from like a scientific point of view, no opinion. And you already start to see how many red flags you see. But as you probably know, there was a paper, and now it's known as Medbikini, which basically just wanted to see how vascular surgeons were behaving online and whether this has any impact on patients' perceptions of doctors, whether this caused any harm. So what they did is they got a completely unrelated trainee database and they used it as their source material, and they found lots of Facebooks, Instagrams and Twitters. They found about 438 social media accounts. And they didn't get consent. Before you do any type of experiment, you're supposed to get ethics approval. So they went to where you get ethics approval from, and now this is what I do. I put makeup on the back of my hand, I put a bit of setting spray on there, and then I put it on my face so that like it's really smooth. So they went to the place where you do that, and they actually got approval. So that's another red flag, well, whatever. So they got approval for the way they were going to do this. And so they split things into definitely unprofessional and potentially unprofessional. And now the definitely unprofessional, I agree with that. So the definitely unprofessional included things such as HIPAA violations, which is basically when you disclose identifiable patient information online. That's absolutely not okay. Things such as drug paraphernalia and offensive comments about your patients or your colleagues. Now, all of these things I completely agree with. In your first term of medical school, they give you this whole lecture about what is acceptable and what's not acceptable to put online, and those things definitely not acceptable. But then it's when we get into the maybe unprofessional list. Now, what they put in the maybe unprofessional list was holding alcohol, inappropriate attire, which is then where they put the bikinis and everything. But bikinis for females, but of course no swimsuits or topless pictures for men. And what I actually think is the most damaging thing that they said was controversial social, political or religious comments. How are we defining any of these parameters? Like, you tell me. I'm gonna put Fenty on my face. Now, I normally don't do my makeup in a small mirror or with lights and talking at the same time, so if this looks a little bit janky at the end. Who is defining what is controversial? You know, maybe if they got, firstly, patients, because that's who they're saying that they're trying to do this research for, to say what they thought was controversial. And maybe if they got lots of different ages and genders and, you know, different type of, a vast array of people to say what was inappropriate or what was not, then maybe that might be fair. But no, it was just the three of them, 3 men, 28, 33 years old and 37, who were trawling through these 480 Facebook social media profiles anonymously, which is another red flag as well, because in research sometimes you do have to use deception, but it's only when it's completely necessary, and I don't feel like this was completely necessary at all. It was just sexism masked as science. So this one is Maybelline, it's not cruelty free. And I just tap that in to make it a bit more lighter and have that gradient. I mix the 2 powders, dark and light. And I think the thing about like, oh, a surgeon being in a bikini in her spare time is going to make her a less competent doctor, or that people aren't going to trust her, ties in with this false dichotomy of beauty versus brains. Somehow the world, I don't know where this has come from, but the world feels like you can only do one. You are either beautiful and therefore and take care of your appearance and therefore you are a bimbo, or you care about your work and everything and therefore you are a nerd or something. Like, pick one or the other. And I feel like this ties in with the fact that like Margaret Thatcher had to take voice lessons so that her voice would sound deeper when she was delivering speeches. It's like a proximity to femininity is somehow assumed to be a distance from intelligence. Where did this come from? You can see how much I love off this eyeshadow, like, oh my god. Just to mix the two. But because I'm really not wanting something too deep, I'm going to do more of this bit, and that's like a bronzer slash contour at the same time. So where did this dichotomy come from between beauty and brains? Like, please, I really want you to comment down below, because I just don't understand. My theory is that it comes from like toxic masculinity. If we take like the stereotypical toxic masculinity, what it means to be an alpha male in society, it would be like, just get as many girls as you can and don't care about them afterwards. So therefore, I feel like to do that, then you need a level of dehumanization. So when some men then see somebody being attractive, but also daring to be simultaneously a little bit useful or intelligent, then it kind of just like, just doesn't compute. That's what I feel. Also, what we have to remember is that on the panel, I mean, in the authors list, there was also one woman on there. And now I looked her up. She's a bit more mature, but she's still cute or whatever. So I don't know why she doesn't want us to shine. And I think that like, so we have to also remember internalized misogyny. So when women show behaviors towards other women, which is like, because we live in a patriarchal system. And I feel like, especially coming from the older generation, they had to pick when they were growing up. They had to pick whether you're going to go for the family life or the work life. You're going to go for this or that. But our generation, it's like we're just swiping out here. We're just like getting the bag, getting our life partners, getting our money, getting our everything. So it's just like, I feel like it offends some of the older generations sometimes, but that's not going to stop us, so like, get with the program. And now, out of Medbikini, let me just see, so I don't know whether my face is looking brazy. Out of hashtag Medbikini has now come hashtag Medracism. Now what am I going to do now? Now I'm going to start on my eyes. And I've got this new Morphe palette. This was a gift from my friends for my graduation. Shout out to them. And I was really happy because Morphe is cruelty free and I didn't know that. Be cute. And I think I'm going to go for the blue side. The secret to doing any eye color that you want is to do a transition color. So I will just take maybe this one. I normally use the Jackie Aina ABH palette, but this will do. And just put that in your crease and you are good to go. Out of hashtag Medbikini has spawned hashtag Medracism. And now the journal that is in, that people are calling up is basically the Springer Journal. And the article was saying, was trying to explain why Hispanics and African Americans are poor. And it says, you know, socioeconomic reasons has failed to explain this. So, and they concluded the reason why Hispanics and African Americans are poorer than other thingies is because, quote unquote, they do not respond to opportunities to improve their condition as fervently as Caucasians do. I don't get it, because are we taking our jobs or are we not? Like, pick a side, pick one. Just ask any immigrant family, like, what have they done to be in the position that they're in today, and you'll see an amazing story. And then now one doctor actually emailed the doctor who wrote this. I think his name was Dr. Mead, the person who wrote this, and said his own story about like what his granddad and all of their generations have had to go through as Mexicans or as Hispanics in America. And Dr. Mead wrote an email back saying, well done to your granddad, but that's an exception, not the rule. We need to look at the actual picture here. So that was rude. And then that just ties in with the controversial social, political and religious comment. Other things that they were saying that was controversial was talking about gun control, having their opinions about gun control and abortions. Firstly, both of those things, if you get shot by a gun, you're going to hospital. If you want an abortion, you're going to an hospital. So how can clinicians not have opinions on those things? Of course, you should never say anything disrespectful about either, like about guns or abortions online, because that could hurt a patient's feelings. But I don't think that's what it was. I don't think that's what the comments were. It is what somebody said on Instagram. It's only limiting people's thoughts or ideas. That means you only want doctors to think a certain type of way, and look a certain type of way as well. Now, when you limit this freedom of thought, and the reason why I think that this is like so damaging is because now medical students are going to use it as an excuse as to why not to get involved in these type of things. So, for example, when the killings of when the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor happened, my medical school released a statement saying, in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. And then one med student on our anonymous forum, university forum chat site said, medical schools have no place getting involved in politics. Okay, so number one, murder is not politics. It is basic human rights, so don't try that. And secondly, as doctors, we have to get involved in politics because politics determines what borough we work in, determines what treatments are available to our patients. Or, poverty in London or in the UK is like really high, something like 20% in 2018, 2019. So how are you going to manage your patients? What are you going to say when your diabetic patient, you have to prescribe them insulin, but at the same time they're skipping meals because they can't afford it? Or you're treating asthma of a little kid, but then they're going back to their flat, which is infested with mold because the council's not doing anything because of austerity for their flat. Like politics, poverty, people, how comfortable people are in society, of course, affects their like physical and social well-being, physical and mental well-being. Like, I don't need to really explain that. Like, let's engage our brains, please. But sometimes I just feel like a finger packs things on much more. I'm really liking this. It's like proper vivid blue. I'm loving it. I'm just going to take a clean brush and I'm just going to blend this all out to make sure that it's all combined with my crease colour and combined with each other. And this is going to diffuse it really nicely, and that's how you pull off bright colours, by blending. I'm blending some more. Okay, I think that's cute. I'm gonna pack on some more blue with an actual brush. And this Morphe doesn't have much fallout as well, so that's good. And look, that was literally just 2 colours or 3 colours. My crease colour, my lid colour, and a corner colour. And now I'm going to do my eyeliner off camera because I already struggle. So some face powder. And I just dust this off. If there's any fallout, then this is your time where you can do that because powder picks up powder. And do this around where you've contoured. So this is a clean or slightly powdered brush that you're going to be doing this with. And this just blends everything together and unifies the colour. Bring that down to there. Just I put my eyeliner and lashes on off camera because there was nothing to see there. Keep it moving. You know, with the more compact brush that I packed the blue one to, I am going to pack some on my under eye as well. So basically, as my friend Hannah put it, which I agree wholeheartedly, is that only male Karens could have written papers like this, could have written a paper like Medbikini, or could have written a paper like the Hispanic African American one. And it's a shame because when you publish, it does go through so many gates. Yeah, this one was able to get through ethics review, was able to get through all of the different, you know, barriers. Just shows how persistent that train of thought was or is in the field of science. And this is why we need diversity in academia, okay? So I'm going to put on the screen at some point, or maybe in the description box below, the pages that I follow, because I'm very interested in research. But when I'm saying academia diversity, I don't just mean as in, okay, what am I doing now? So I've gone over my face with like a powder just to put everything in, and now what I do is setting spray and do that, put it all together, marry it together, and then I press with my beauty blender into my face, and that just makes it like skin. It's already just looks so much more like skin. And when I say diversity, I don't just mean racial and gender diversity. I mean all the diversities, so people with disabilities as well, maybe in like relationship psychology, not for it to always be heteronormative. What else? You know, different socioeconomic researchers, because naturally in life we're all gonna have blind spots, okay? So now I'm putting on highlight. Like, you know, I, as an able-bodied person, I'm not going to know what the pitfalls of prosthetics, for example, or hearing aids that we need to look into and do, unless I myself have got personal experience or I ask the people affected. And that is again with research, like these people were wanting to see how these social media posts affect patients, but they never asked patients, they just did it all themselves. So if you're going to research, or you know, the other paper was looking to see why Hispanics and African Americans are poor, but never asked poor Hispanics and poor African Americans their opinions, like that doesn't make sense. And there was also a time where science said that black people have smaller brains. Science since day has been used to push forward like racism and sexism, and we really need to be aware of that. Really think about what your agenda is and what you're trying to achieve. And that's why I personally believe in quotas. Like, I know people are just like, no, if we're the exact same, then why should I be employed because I am a woman or I have got melanin? But it's not because the quota is not because you are black, that's why you have to come in, or because you are brown than this. It's not your skin, it's the experience and the skills that you bring. Like, naturally we'll have blind spots, so therefore if we have people from all different walks of life, then these type of papers which harm public perception of science and everything would not get out there in the first place. And also diversity only fosters innovation, and it means we are actually answering the questions that need to be answered. My battery died, but right now I'm just going to do my lips. I always just do a brown liner, so either the NYX one, or I use a liquid lipstick, Portraying Cosmetics in Melanin, with probably a buttery gloss in the middle. That's always a go-to. If you have a bright eye, then just do a nude glossy lip on the bottom. So, you know, and if this study truly believed that these posts were harming patients in any type of way, then okay, so what are you going to do about the posts? Just leave them up there. So you've not done anything apart from stalked people and told them off. You didn't even tell them off. So not only was it a waste of time, it was also a waste of money. You didn't achieve anything apart from just break trust and peeve off a lot of female physicians and surgeons. And it's such a shame because with medicine, it is a vocation. Like, you do dedicate your whole life to it. So for somebody to come and say that you do not fit the prescribed box of what a doctor should be or think or look like, that's actually insulting. The brown lip on the outside, and what am I going to do on the inside? I'm just going to mix them both. Let me see. There you go, that's cute. A bit of pinky, a bit of sparkly. We love to see it. So that is me done. This is the finished look. I put a bit more blusher on upstairs. I put a scarf on. This scarf is from a charity shop. That's a plug if you want to get cheap silk scarves. And I put on some perfume. So I put my evening perfume on, Linta di Givenchy. And yeah, this is the finished look. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I was getting the right balance between talking about the makeup and also talking about what I was ranting about. And if you are interested in more of these topics, then I would suggest 2 books. Invisible Woman Exposing Data Bias by Caroline Criado Perez, and also Inferior: How Science Got Women Wrong. And I went to her lecture before, and this was really extremely eye-opening about how biased science is in terms of gender. And I know that her second book that she was planning to do was Inferior: How Science Got Race Wrong. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, make sure you like it, share, comment and subscribe so you can join the gang. I normally make videos on science, medicine and social issues. Remember, always with these videos, I want you to comment down below, because my aim is to start a discussion, not to begin and end it by myself. So I shall see you in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!